Coleman, the CEO of the Coleman Group. We're a specialist contractor in the UK, carrying out a wide variety of services, mainly demolition and associated specialist works. Mark's Demolition Diaries is part of our 60th celebration for our 60 years in business, following on from the footsteps of my father, David Coleman, who did Dave's Demolition Diaries, which was a blog that he released over the course of our 50th year in business. And I'm looking to do the same with our 60th, but as opposed to using it as a blog, we're trying it as a video. So hopefully you'll enjoy what we've got to say. It's really about sharing my experiences throughout my life, from being a child up to present day, talking about my love for the industry, challenges that we face, successes that we've achieved, and really to give a flavour of the history and the culture of the Coleman Group and give some insight to our vision for the future. Coleman's as a business was started by my grandparents, John or Jack Coleman, however people like to refer to him, Nora, Staunton. My grandfather, he came from Fermoy in Cork, and my grandmother, she came from Castlebar in County Mayo. They moved to Birmingham. They met in Birmingham. My grandfather was labouring, digging tram track, and they got together, they got married. The business started to develop and evolve from labouring into a bit of muck shifting, hiring a machine, and then my grandfather and my grandmother got the opportunity to buy a lorry, and then they started digging more holes, knocking buildings into holes, and that was pretty much how the Coleman Group started some 60 years ago now. The family business first of all started out of a back room in a house in Albert Road in Stetchford, Birmingham. They basically worked there as much as they could until such time as, after buying the first lorry, they bought another lorry, and then before they knew it, they had a fleet and they had machinery. They needed somewhere to put it, so we then had a yard in Albert Road, which they worked out of for a number of years, and then after that they moved into Station Road, Stetchford, which again they worked there for many, many years. My grandparents had 5 children, the eldest being Maureen, then David, my father, John, Kevin and Michael. Kevin was the only son or child that didn't actually come and work into the business. He actually became a solicitor. Maureen worked there for many, many years and looked after all the money and did a very good job of that. Obviously David, who I've spoken about, my father, and we'll talk about more as we go through. John, my uncle, he worked there. He was a fitter at Bowmaker Caterpillar down in Cannock. He was working with us for a number of years. He went out to Australia, met a lady there, came back to the UK, and basically decided to emigrate to Australia. So he's been there ever since. And Michael, the youngest, he was the transport and fleet manager, and he worked there for many, many years, making sure that all the plant and equipment was up to date. Over that time, of course, people have got older, retired, and it's just me now, the Coleman sort of family remaining member. I see it as a huge privilege for me, but also a massive challenge now to take this business through and into the future, and hopefully leave it in good hands, safe hands for hopefully my family members, my children. My family are Roman Catholic Irish. Their history is a strict culture, but one which is based around trust and integrity. And my grandfather started the business with my grandmother and made sure that family values were actually key to the way that we did our business. And in those days, of course, it was a handshake. And fast forward through to where we are now, Coleman's is still very much about the handshake. I know we have the contract, but it's in the drawer. The way that they set the business up is now true to the way that the business is operating. We've given out 5 or 6 gold watches over my time while we've been at Coleman's. We have a number of employees with over 20 years service. one with over 30 years, and we have a collective team approach. We're all very much in it together and here for each other, and I think that was very much what the Irish community was about when it came to Birmingham, helping rebuild the city and really getting involved, getting stuck in and having a go, and that's pretty much the sort of ethos of everyone here at Coleman's. Our aim, our objective of these Demolition Diaries is, like I say, to pick up where Dave left off, recap on some of the areas of important significance that he talked about, maybe reflect on it a different way in my own voice, use the video rather than the blog like we say, but we'll be picking up in more detail the last 10 years from 50 to 60 years. We'll be looking at challenges to the business, to the industry. We'll be looking at our involvement in the community, so talking about the boxing club, the football clubs, the BMX club that we support, how we have training programs and bringing people through, making sure that they're educated in the right way to be able to do the work that we need to do safely. We'll be talking about obviously hot topics like environmental, what are the challenges ahead, what are we doing about it, employment skill shortages, slave labour, new plant equipment, jobs that we've done, employees, hopefully talking to stakeholders, clients, really anybody that's had an impact or has been impacted by the work that we do. So really it's a broad spectrum covering a wide variety of subjects and topics, and we'll be looking to release those over the next 12 months. So we'll be reflecting back over the successes of Coleman's that have had over the 60 years while we're in business. Some of those successes are really quite remarkable. We have God knows how many World Demolition Awards, UK Specialist Contractor Awards, spanning over 20 years. We've been recognised across the globe as one of the leading specialist contractors for projects that we've completed. Of particular note, projects like Birmingham New Street Station. We are recognised as one of the companies that people look up to in terms of, what are we doing, what's our strategy, what's our plan. We are really seen as a company that can deliver complex work, but hopefully do it in a stress-free way. One of my favourite stories that I have from Coleman's in the early years, I was probably 10 or 11. Saturday mornings, I loved it. I'd get my wet gear on, they'd give me the keys to a Volvo 861 dump truck, and I'd be able to drive it over, wash it all down and drive it back. I then started being able to drive a loading shovel, and Keith, who I remember fondly, he sort of brought me up a lot around the sites. I remember the one time we went out to a job in Lichfield. It was a Saturday morning, it was a demolition job. A Saturday morning, as so often is the case, one of the machine drivers didn't turn up, so I offered, I think it was a 957 face shovel track excavator. Anyway, I offered to clear the material coming off the crusher, and I could hardly see above this thing. I was so small. Put a bag underneath and was sitting up. Very old style machine to operate. Anyway, I thought I was doing a great job, tracking backwards and forwards, moving this material. Anyway, it stops for breakfast time, and Jack Dealey, one of the old guys, Irish guy, comes out and he goes, where's my snap? Where's all my grub and everything gone? And as he looked round, he said, I left it under a wheelbarrow over there. Anyway, all you could see, this wheelbarrow was just totally tracked into the ground, totally mashed up, absolutely ruined. God, this guy gave me a right roasting. He was really, really not happy. But yeah, that was funny. But, going to and from these sites, I would be in the back of a van with diesel, blokes, diesel swishing up and down the side, oil. It really is a stark contrast to now where we are as an industry. And I think that, for me, I find that particularly interesting and worthy of note that, a lot of people say that this industry needs to move on, but actually in my lifetime, from what I've seen, it's moved on exponentially and will continue to do so. I hope that you're going to find these Demolition Diaries interesting. It's certainly been very thought-provoking for me to look back in preparation to put these videos together. The history, the timeline, the events that have taken place that bring us up to today's date, and indeed then we'll look forward into the future to see what that future holds. We'll be releasing them over the next 12 months. But the idea is to really develop Coleman's further into the future, really relying on the family values that my grandparents set up when they started this company, which is about being open, collaborating, trust and honesty. We want to take this opportunity, celebrating our 60th anniversary, but really emphasise, I suppose, the importance for us all to realise how much more connected we are as an industry compared to back then in 60 years ago, how we can work together collaboratively, sharing our experiences, and hope that by sharing those experiences we can all learn from each other, but learn in a way which isn't damaging to people, the environment or our businesses. We hope everybody likes the Demolition Diaries, engages with it, shares it. It's intended to be the start of a conversation rather than the end of it. So please get in touch and share your thoughts and your views. We'd love to hear from you, and we hope you enjoy our story.